All right, today we're going to be talking about accountability in a dating relationship and really just what that could look like in your relationship and within your walk with God. Now, the very first question that we are going to answer is this, and it's an important one for this topic, is what is the difference between responsibility and accountability? All right, what's the difference between responsibility and accountability? So, you are responsible for yourself, okay? But when other people start to get involved, then it becomes accountability. So, an example of this is take your job. You are responsible to get to work on time, but your boss is going to hold you accountable to make sure that you are getting to work on time. Okay? So that's the big difference there between responsibility and accountability. And there's going to be a point later that it's important that we kind of know that difference. Okay, I want to read a scripture in Ecclesiastes 4, starting in verse 9. It says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their efforts. For if either falls, his companion can lift him up, but pity the one who falls without another to lift him up. Also, if two lie down together, they can keep warm. But how can one person alone keep warm? And if someone overpowers one person, two can resist him. A cord of three strands is not easily broken." Very important foundational questions that you should be asking if you're in a dating relationship. Okay? The first one is, are we better together than we are apart? Okay? So are we better than we are apart? That's the first very important question. The second one is this person going to help me get into heaven? Okay? Because those two questions really sum up the whole point of dating, right? Because relationships, God created relationships to support one another, to help one another. Okay? So again, the first question there was, are we better together than apart? And that second question was, is this person going to help me get to heaven? Right? Now, both of these questions, they're not emotional questions. They don't really feel that, I feel like this. Like, no, these are questions that you really have to think about. And it's a logical answer. Is my boyfriend good for me? Does my boyfriend help me out? Or am I better off alone? Because if you're better off alone, then why are you together? So those are very important questions to think about in your relationship. Now, very important when we're talking about holding one another accountable is how you do it. Okay? Accountability is meant to be done, to support and to encourage someone, to show them that you love them, right? But accountability is not meant to embarrass someone or to belittle someone. That's not the point. See, people often have great intentions when it comes to holding someone else accountable, but it just comes across weird and it comes across, not out of love. And a lot of times I hear when someone's just trying to hold someone accountable or whatever, they end up embarrassing them or belittling them. And that's not right. That's not the point of accountability. And it leaves a sour taste for a lot of people. Okay? Accountability needs to be done out of love. When you're helping someone through something, they should feel that, that you love them and that you're trying to help them and support them. They shouldn't feel intimidated. They shouldn't feel, like you're the teacher, like peering over their shoulder all the time. That's not the point. Because the absolute last thing you want is for your girlfriend or your boyfriend to feel embarrassed or belittled by you. I mean, again, you could be trying to just you see something in their character, maybe they did something you didn't like, and you want to bring it up, but you do it in a way that's not right, not out of love, it's not gentle, and you end up really hurting their feelings. And if you hurt their feelings, even if it wasn't your intention, you still need to own up to it. In 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1, it says, "If I speak human or angelic tongues, but do not have love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal." You see, it's not the listener's fault if you're the one clanging that cymbal or that gong. Okay? You're the one at fault because you're the one hitting that cymbal. You're the one being unpleasant and unloving. Accountability has to be done out of love that other person is going to feel. Okay? It needs to be done in a safe place. See, you have a very special role in this person's life. And it's to be their number one cheerleader, right? It's to be their number one fan. It's to support and love them, okay? And again, the last thing you want to do is embarrass or belittle them, okay? Let me explain why it can be embarrassing or belittling. When you try and hold someone accountable a little too harshly or not out of love, or maybe they don't deserve, maybe you say something that's just uncalled for. See, you tell that person that you think they are irresponsible, that they're childish, that they're not mature, that they can't handle this. That's what you're communicating to your partner, okay? And it's the same. So take that example from earlier. You're late to work one time, and your boss just rips into you and belittles you in front of everyone. One, that makes them a bad leader, but two, it makes you feel horrible because they're communicating to you, that you're irresponsible. When a lot of times, that's just not true. It's just not the case. See, a lot of times, and it's unfortunate that we do this, but at least for myself and many others, we tend to assume the worst, right? We see something, we hear something, and we just assume the worst of that person, right? When in reality, it's usually not that bad. So whenever you're talking about accountability in your relationship, maybe you see something in their character that you want to bring up, it always needs to be in a loving, gentle conversation. Hey, hon, I saw you do this the other day. What was going on? Did you have a bad day? It needs to be a conversation. You can never just outright accuse your boyfriend or girlfriend of something, because that is when they're going to feel, belittled, embarrassed, and if nothing else, they're going to put their defenses up. And again, you guys are in a relationship. You're on a team. You're trying to be better together. You're trying to help each other get to heaven. Okay? You can't have walls up and do that well. So, again, it is your job to be loving, right? It's not the listener's job to take it well, because it's your job to not clang that cymbal. All right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so one of the reasons why dating should be taken very seriously is because your walks with God become intertwined, right? When you're single, it's just you and God. If you sin, that's between you and God to figure out, right? But if you're dating someone or if you're married, your sin is going to affect her. And her sin is going to affect you. Your relationships with God become intertwined. Now, again, you still have your own personal relationships with God. You still have your own personal walks, but your walks with God become connected. Okay? And that's why dating, there is a sense where it needs to be taken seriously. You should care about, who is this person and what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How are they doing? Those are important things to think about, to be confident in just who this person is. Now, no matter how much thought and prayers and energy that you put into a relationship, okay? None of us are Jesus, all right? So your boyfriend or girlfriend, they're going to sin. They're going to hurt you. They might even sin against you, okay? It's just going to happen because there are only sinners available to date. But what that means is that everyone should be loving and inspiring one another to try and be more like Christ. This is the glue that holds a healthy relationship together. All right, and in the next video in this series, I'm going to be talking about kind of more ways of how to do that, of how to help and support one another. And the next video is going to be all about getting advice and how to involve other people in your relationship in a way that is going to benefit you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something from this. If you have any questions or comments, or if you just think I'm horrible, you can leave them in the comments below, and I will reach back out to you guys. But yeah, bye.